What if VOLCARONA was in Gen 1 OU? Is it too much of a stretch to say that VOLCARONA is the most popular bug type of all time? At the very least, it has to be the best bug type competitively of all time, right? Like, I know Pheromosa, gets banned a lot. The same thing with, Genesect. But, those guys get, banned so quickly, they might as well just be, Uber's Pokemon. So, I don't think it's the same thing as, Volcarona consistently, always being amazing in every single OU generation. Which, fun fact, I used to love Volcarona, but then Gen 9 happened, and now I hate it. But how would it do in Gen 1? Now, to no one's surprise, this video has been requested a few times, and whenever it has been suggested, people always wanted me to either give it Quiver Dance, or to give it, its, actual signature move, Fiery Dance. And this is going to surprise a lot of you, but, Volcarona will be good either way. Even yesterday, someone suggested Volcarona, and this is what actually got me interested in doing the video right now in the first place. And they even said that, they don't think Volcarona will be that good. And, we're all entitled to our opinions, but I already did the replays, and that cannot be further from the truth. Volcarona is amazing, and even without Quiver Dance, you barely even notice a difference. If anything, in some ways, it debatably gets better. Now, to start off with, I'm just gonna go over why I decided not to give it Fiery Dance. Because, technically, Fiery Dance wouldn't be that broken. It would just be a weaker, Fire Blast, more accurate, does good enough damage, and has a 50% chance to raise Volcarona Special. Which, sounds good, and that's because it is. But I decided not to give it because, mostly because I just don't think it matters. I think you would always prefer Fire Blast and Fire Spin to Fiery Dance. And while this might be because of my Skeletorch video, where, if you guys remember that video, even with Skeletorch always boosting its special with Torch Song, unfortunately, just because of how Gen 9 custom games works, it boosts the special attack, but not the special defense. So for anyone thinking that Fire Dance could be interesting, that right there alone just, would get rid of half the reason any of you would want to see it. But you might be thinking, okay, well, Skeletorch used, not Fire Dance, a Torch Song, and Torch Song was so amazing, which is true. But not only do I think the most optimal Skeletorch sets still use Fire Blast for extra firepower, but unlike Skeletorch, Volcarona has Amnesia. So what would you rather use? The more the more powerful Fire Blast? Or would you rather just have a 50% chance to raise your special? Or would you just be able to consistently raise your special by 2 stages? And while Quiver Dance is nice, because, it's raising your special by 1 stage, but at the same time also raising your speed, Amnesia is still better than that too. Not to mention, Volcarona has base 100 speed. It's automatically one of the fastest things in the tier, even outspeeding other fast Pokemon like Jinx. So what do you really get from getting Quiver Dance? You're faster than Zapdos, but Zapdos still beats you 1v1 with Drill Peck. You become faster than Tauros, which, that's admittedly a good thing, so that one I can understand. Faster than, I'm assuming you're probably faster than Aerodactyl and Jolteon, which doesn't matter that much, because with Amnesia, you don't really fear Jolteon anyways. And Starmie, it doesn't matter if you're faster than, because, they're just gonna kill you with Surf anyways. And finally, Alakazam. Well, being faster than Alakazam, it's nice. I think you would rather have Amnesia, just because of how annoying special drops are with Psychic. So I think you'd rather just have 2, so even if you get hit with a special drop, you still hit incredibly hard. So, yeah. If it had Quiver Dance, you would definitely like replace Amnesia on some sets, but for the most part, I think Amnesia will always be superior. Same with Fire Blast. As for other moves, obviously Fire Spin is amazing, especially for a base 100 Pokemon. It also helps you put Executor into KO range. Hilariously enough, you don't need it for Jinx, you just OHKO. But it's still nice to have. Also good for Pokemon like Swelbro or Rhydon, where you do not win the 1v1, but still go away for you to pivot without having to worry about a Pokemon taking damage. You have Double Edge, which you would only reuse for Chansey, debatably, but with 60 base attack, I just think it's not worth it. Which luckily you have Psychic. And Psychic works much better. Just for a good special drop against Chansey, as well as being able to hit Gengar super effectively. Although with Amnesia, you still basically almost kill with Fire Blast anyways. So, like, there's also moves like Hyper Beam you can technically use. And if you're like really scared about the Rhydon matchup, you can always just replace a Psychic with Solar Beam. So whenever you predict they're going to switch in the Rhydon, you charge up Solar Beam, which then they just switch out again, and then you're just back at square one. So actually, yeah, just stick with this moveset here. Amnesia, Fire Blast, Fire Spin, and Psychic. It's going to work good enough. And even with Rhydon, unlike Swelbro, where you just always lose, if you have an Amnesia or two up, Fire Spin, or depending on how much special you have, even Psychic can actually just kill Rhydon just then and there. So no matter what, you have a lot of options. You're incredibly dangerous. Most likely in late game, like I don't think it's going to surprise you to hear that Volcarona is a great late game cleaner. But like I said before, it also can just OHKO Jinx with Fire Blast unboosted or needing Fire Spin to chip. So even just as a lead, it can start as a lead and just start doing immediate damage. So I don't know why so many of you thought Volcarona would struggle. I know I did talk about Volcarona in my server, but I do not remember if I thought that it would be good or not. I think I remember saying that it might need like Mega Drain in order to take down Rhydon. But now when I'm looking at the replays, it absolutely does not need Mega Drain. It can just dominate on its own. There's no doubt it's the best fire type in Gen 1 OU. But is it the best bug type? Do you think Amnesia, Fire Blast, Volcarona is better than, like, Sword Stance, Pinsir exactly? I know it's a tough choice. And, like, for all my Pinsir fans out there, like, Big Yo, I'm looking at you. You gotta let me know, because I know it's a very close call between which is the best bug type. But I'm sure, with enough research, we can find a definitive answer. And it'll probably be Pinsir. But enough about that, let's go into the replays, shall we? Always starting off with the boy himself, Tauros. And get in for the funny, because even if both of them get a crit, like, a critical Fire Blast on its own is enough to OHKO Tauros. And Volcarona has base 100 speed, so it's going to crit a lot. It's really the same crit rate as, like, Zapdos. So what is that, like a 19% or something? So, yeah, we're in for a rough ride. Now, as for just a regular matchup where they don't crit, Body Slam does a good amount of damage, Fire Blast does half, and even though Hyper Beam, can just clean you then and there, keep in mind that Fire Blast in Generation 1, it has a 30% chance to burn the target. If Tauros gets burned, it's doomed. If Tauros gets crit, it's doomed. If Tauros still kills the Volcarona, but loses half its health, what do you know? Now it loses to your Tauros. So, it's definitely gonna could go either way. But I would argue, no matter what happens, Volcarona is almost always gonna be, like, somewhat the victor. Because Tauros really is such a dangerous Pokemon, and if you take half its health away, kill it, or burn it, Tauros, it just becomes useless. And by the way, the only way Tauros, or... I don't think there's a tech move you can use. It's not like you can use, like, Fire Blast or Thunderbolt, because Volcarona is a Fire Bug type. So yeah, it doesn't even like have to worry about Fire Blast. It just takes it neutrally. And because of Volcarona's high special, it takes yeah, it's nothing Tauros can really do. It's just gonna be a matchup that Tauros probably has to avoid. Meanwhile, Snorlax is in a way in the same camp because Body Slam and Hyper Beam is more than enough to take out Volcarona. But Volcarona is faster than Snorlax, which means that not only can it trap it with Fire Spin that help put, Snorlax in a damage range, but also Volcarona can just go for Amnesia beforehand, which could be risky if you don't know what Snorlax it is. Because, like, if it goes for Body Slam and you get paralyzed, suddenly Snorlax can just kill you. But at the same time, if it's something like Amnesia Lax, you just kind of win really easily. Because even if Snorlax, like, really raises its special, you're still faster than it. You have, Fire Spin. So Snorlax will never get the opportunity to set up a lot of Amnesias. And even if it does, what's it gonna use? Ice Beam, Blizzard, Thunderbolt? You just have your own Amnesia, so you just win that. So, even though it could be kind of dangerous, I would still put Snorlax in the good, matchups. Which, you can disagree with me on that if you want, because it is Snorlax. But I feel like, it's almost always in Volcarona's favor. Only case it isn't, it's with Body Slam Paralysis exactly. Now, Chansey, it's really annoying. It can't really hurt Volcarona. And even though, Volcarona has, Amnesia and special drops with Psychic, ironically, because of its fast crit rate, a lot of the time, you're not going to do as much damage to Chansey as you want to, because it'll just ignore the special drops and anything past, +2 on your Fire Blast or Psychic. Doesn't mean that you shouldn't go for those on, Volcarona. Because with 2 Amnesias, you already have max special. Even if, 19% of the time, it's going to ignore that, it's very much still, using. Because, as you see there, when you don't crit, it is massive. And let's be real, even if, it ignores your ×3, and you just go for, a critical Fire Blast, that's still a Fire Blast doing double the damage. It hits pretty hard. It's just, literally just Chansey exactly where you wish it would do more. And even then, Chansey still can't do much. I'm still gonna put the matchup and could go either way, however, just because Volcarona really does hate Paralysis a lot. But also, here's a good example of where I feel like Amnesia is just so much better than, Quiver Dance. And, luckily, Alakazam just can't really hurt you unless he gets a crit. Unfortunately, he gets crits, very often, and they do, a little bit more than half of your health. But at the same time, Fire Blast just annihilates. So, definitely is a good matchup for Volcarona. Alakazam, just like Tauros, does not risk it. And this one, really surprised me. Even though Cloyster has Clamp, so you would expect it to be, at least annoying or could go either way. Volcarona has absolutely no problem going for a free Amnesia because it's faster, and then just OHKOing with Fire Blast. So even though Cloyster is a water type, with one of the most dangerous water moves of all time, I'm actually going to put it into a good matchup for Volcarona. I never thought I'd see a fire type get a free win against, a water type in this series. But here we are. Speaking of free matchups, what do you really expect Exeggutor to do here? Really? Eggy just gets put in the range with Fire Spin and then decides to Fire Blast. You're not going to risk Sweet Powder. You're definitely not going to risk or bother with Explosion. So you just switch out. And the moment you switch out, most likely into your Rhydon, Volcarona still just goes for Fire Spin and gets a free switch in. So, and then with Gengar, this is the one where I just really didn't know what to do. Or if I at least didn't know how to rank it. Because Hypnosis really is threatening. But at the same time, Gengar's faster. And Volcarona does need at least one turn to go for Amnesia. Just so that it can really threaten you. It can probably OHKO with Psychic. I definitely didn't forget about Psychic. The first time I clicked Fire Blast. But yeah, I think this is technically a good matchup for Volcarona. Maybe could go either way, just because sweep really is that dangerous. And because Gengar's the only sweep setter in the game that can, put Volcarona to sleep. Since both Jinx and Executor are unable to, for the most part. But you guys just let me know what you think in the comments. And Jinx, like I said before, an unboosted Fire Blast Okos. Moving on, Lamau. And next off, I believe this is Rhydon, yeah. I didn't bother trying to make a replay for it, but just like with Charizard Y and Skeleturge, friendly reminder that you can also potentially get a burn on Rhydon with Fire Blast. So even if you don't have any other Pokemon to switch into, you just have Volcarona, it's still technically not a lost cause, but you definitely shouldn't try to go into the situation, and don't try to go for it if you don't have to. It's still basically an unwinnable matchup, no matter what. But it's still nice knowing that because you're faster, you can always do something if they send out Rhydon. Unlike with Zapdos or Jolteon, where you just have to switch out and just pray Earthquake doesn't hit too hard. Or Rock Slide. And then with Slowbro, even though you guys both have Amnesia, one of you is a Water type, and Volcarona has no way of really hurting Slowbro, other than being a dumbass and just putting like Solar Beam on your Pokemon. So Slowbro can just do what it usually does, and Volcarona just has no way of hurting it. And even a critical Solar Beam, I doubt would actually KO. So it's just unwinnable by every meaning of the word. Which is unfortunate, but it's Slowbro. What do you expect? In Starmie, even though Volcarona can boost its special, it's slower than Starmie. Starmie crits a lot. And Volcarona has no way of really hurting Starmie, as Starmie does not care about Volcarona's Fire Blast or Surf. Or not Surf, I mean Psychic. If it gets a special drop with Psychic, then, well, even then, you still are probably in red, because you had to go for an Amnesia, and then you had to go for a Psychic. Maybe you already have Max Special when Starmie comes out. I'm not exactly sure how the matchup goes then, but I would still argue it's probably in Starmie's favor. And last but not least, we got Zapdos. That low defense, which I haven't really brought up until this point. This is where it really comes back to bite you in the ass. However, you've already seen so many great matchups Volcarona has. Having one Pokemon that can threaten you, physically with super effective damage, it's not a big deal. It's fair. It's what keeps Volcarona from being overpowered. But here is the tier list. This you can put in Cuckoo either way if you want. Same with Snorlax if you really want to. But I prefer this. And yeah. Does Amnesia carry Volcarona? In some ways, yes. But in other ways, I would still say that Volcarona is really good. And it doesn't really matter if Amnesia carries or not, because it has it. So, hopefully you can agree with me that Quiver Dance or Fire Dance aren't needed, and that just with the tools that it would have if you just use Gen 1 moves, Volcarona would still be amazing, and there's no doubt about it, it would definitely be an OU. I would say definitely higher than Jolteon, probably higher than Slowbro. After that, I can't really predict where it would be on the rankings. You guys have to let me know what you think in the comments below, but I think it would be really good. One of the best sweepers in the game, and definitely one of the best late game cleaners. What do you think? Would Volcarona be great in OU? Or am I just, overhyping it? Would you ever consider using Double Edge or Hyper Beam? Or are the 3 moves I brought up ever, just the best ones ever? Best ones ever. I need a widen my vocabulary at some point. Oh, whatever. Be sure to join the Discord server. Thank you all for watching. And until next time, this is Grandbag, and I look forward to hearing from you. Now, if you excuse me, I'm going to get myself a glass of water, because my throat is killing me.